All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Elevated Audio Podcast. I am your host, Chris Audio, music producer, audio engineer, event promoter, jack of all trades, based in Florida. My co-host today is a pen and music producer from Spokane, Washington, Bueno Garcia. What's good?
Happening, guys?
And today on this episode, we got a very special guest, 60 East from THOP Fest. How you doing?
Going on? What's going on?
Yeah, man. So, I wanted to make started off maybe a little bit biographical, kind of let people get to know you a little bit, and then we'll get into the festival if you want.
Let's
So
get it.
first
Let's
of
get it.
all, yeah. So first of all, give us an idea, like where you're from, like how you got started with music in general.
Yeah, so I'm from Ontario, California, which is just outside of LA County. For those of y'all not from California, I grew up like I was a b-boy first. I was like in third grade. I started breakdancing because one of my older cousins was a b-boy and he taught me how to breakdance, and I was just like always super into it as soon as I met it, and then I got super embedded into the culture. And then eventually my brother started DJing because he couldn't break dance, and then he started DJing, and then that led to him producing, and then eventually he needed people to rap over his beats, so me and the same cousin that taught me how to break dance started rapping over his beats along with some other cats from the neighborhood. And then my brother eventually started like a little independent label in high school, and then we was like pressing up CDs. We were just recording at my mom's house, making CDs, passing them out at school, and yeah, we kind of built a local buzz, and we had a lot of hype going. And the main artist on our label, he was about to get signed, and then he ended up passing away. Everybody kind of went their own ways, and I was still in high school. And then eventually, around 2010, I decided to just really, take my chance with this music stuff and do my solo career, man. And I've been able to, be out here for, 10 plus years. Been able to have a career, travel the world, work with heroes, work with people that I've always wanted to work with, build, a small fan base that I've been able to eat off of for over a decade, man. And yeah, I'm just blessed.
That's amazing. Bueno, what you got?
Man, you say you traveled the world. That's not a lie. I've been going over some of this stuff, man. You've touched down in the Netherlands, Czech Republic. Shoot, you even do what a Portland nude festival?
Yeah, I mean, nude. I mean, for us, it's nude, but in Polish, nude, it's zabić nude means kill the boredom.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Yeah, so zabić nude is the Kill the Boredom Festival, which is a hip hop festival in like northern Poland. It's literally in the middle of nowhere, man. Like it was crazy how I came across them, but like yeah, like we had to fly into Warsaw. Yeah, I think Warsaw's the main city in Poland, and then we had to they picked us up and we had to drive like 4 hours through Poland to get to where this show's at because there's no airports like in the area. And yeah, we're like by the Russian border. It's like it's super like just a crazy area that no one's ever been to. And like it was crazy when we got there. I remember them telling us, they were like, "Yo, you're the only American that has ever stepped foot in this city." Like it's like that small of a town that nobody's ever like gone up there like that. But somehow I managed to like we did manage to discover each other, and then they booked me to headline their festival, and it was crazy to see like in the middle of nowhere that like they have this hip hop festival that shows love to graffiti, breakdancing, DJing, and like not even just that. It's like I noticed like they had basketball was part of their thing, like street ball and like other
Oh,
things that they consider hip hop culture because it's kind of like yeah, it was just a trip to see, and yeah, I've been blessed, man, to being able to see that in various different countries.
So, so off of that, because obviously you've been out a few places out in Europe, and we kind of have this perception that like European audiences support American music, at least indie music, better than American audiences do. And would you say that's true, or is it kind of like maybe that's a little overstated?
Yeah, I would say it is because I remember like my first European tour going out there thinking that because that's what I would always heard. I was like, yo,
Right.
they really support American artists and when we're touring out there, you know, they really show out. And that's true, but I think not to that extent. I think it's to the
Okay.
extent of they support old school hip hop or the golden era hip, whatever you want to call it. Like
Right.
they support the culture of hip hop in a different way. They treat it a little different. I think us that we grew up with, they were kind of spoiled and it's just kind of part of our everyday
Right.
lives. But there, you know, you have to go somewhere to be like around hip hop and around people that do similar things and stuff like that. So I think that maybe the community aspect of it and the appreciation, because I also think the appreciation shows off with our older artists because, you know,
Yeah.
you go to a, you know, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but say like a KRS-One or somebody out here, he's not performing that. He's not headlining the festivals anymore. He's not performing at the Madison Square Gardens or whatever. But if he goes to Europe, they have them on that pedestal. Like he's still headlining festivals out there and performing at these big venues that sell out and stuff like that. But I think we're like that with our rock and roll artists. Like, you know, whoever's old school band, you know, can still perform and still sell out shows. But for some reason, hip hop isn't like that here because we're kind of like I guess we're more into what's hot, what's new type stuff, and like everything else just kind of happened. But out there, they still have that appreciation for the old, you know, the greats and like the people that set the foundation like rock and roll has here. But
Yeah.
yeah, out there, I would say that was the biggest shocker or whatever.
Would you say that it's more because the market's more saturated here? Like we have independent artists coming up and big artists in every city now, and like there, it's more like they're just exposed to what we give them.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, I could go outside, throw a rock, and hit a rapper right now. You know what I mean?
That's the truth.
And
Pretty much. Pretty
and
much.
yeah, you're right. Europe's not like that, and I think yeah, that might also have something to do with it. And then I think, you know, if they see someone out there from somewhere different doing their thing, this might apply to anywhere because I've noticed it in the States when I'm in different states or whatever, that if they see you, you know, out there doing your thing, the perception is like, oh, they're successful enough to be out here doing their thing. You know what I mean? Like, let me check them out or whatever.
100%. That's the same thing that's happened to us on the road. We go out to, we were out out on your coast actually. We were out in Spokane. We were out in San Jose. We were in, you know, in Seattle was that was tougher because that was like on Monday night or something like that. So that turnout wasn't great. But for the most part, yeah, turnouts were really good. And then you come back home and it's like, I mean, yeah, you have some good shows obviously back at home, but you know, sometimes like, oh, well, you know, my girl wants to do this, you know, I'll catch you at the next one or whatever, you know. So it's I don't know, maybe people feel a little more comfortable missing stuff locally. But yeah, you're right. You know, you know, you hit the road and it seems like support sometimes is a little bit better, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, they say, as like a metaphor analogy, you know, life in your hometown, and you're not always gonna find all your fans in your hometown. You know what I mean? Like you have
True.
to wherever you go. You know what I mean? There even if it's a handful of people or that one person that rocks with your music, because there's people out here making music that doesn't appeal to the masses. You know what I mean? It might only appeal to a small group of people, but if you're able to go out and find those people and, you know, build them and build it online, then you could have a career. Like I've seen people, I mean, we all know, we all see artists up there whose music that we don't like, but for some reason they have a cult following or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's just because they were able to find that niche market. And yeah, if somebody like fucking Riff Raff or something can have a fan
Yeah.
base, you know what I mean?
That's the
Like
truth.
Yeah,
anybody
no
can have
question.
anybody can have a fan base, but it's just about finding those fans. And it's like it might only be a handful in your city, and you go to the next city
Right.
and it's like, oh, maybe there's a lot more here, and it's like, oh shit, maybe this
Yeah.
market or whatever just finds my music better, or it hits better, or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. Because you know, and you know, we all make underground hip hop here, you know, and I come from like a boom bap background, and yeah, is boom bap like the prevalent sound? No, that's okay though. Um, because I know that there's a market, you know, for it. Because every city we go to, and I'm sure you experienced this at some point, where people are like, "Wow, I really like these type of hip hop shows. I really like these type of hip hop shows. I didn't know people were really doing it like this as much anymore," because they just think that like everything is like a mumble rap show or whatever, or trap or whatever it may be. Um, and respect to any other subgenres or whatever, which is not what I do. But I also recognize that it doesn't matter where you go, there is some kind of audience for it. And maybe you'll have, like you said, 10, 15, 20, 30 hardcore fans locally, but guess what? There might be those same 20, 30, 35, 40 people in every other market too, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh
So it's
man.
kind of got to tap into as many markets as you can, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with the internet these days, there's ways to do that without even
Sure.
touring. I mean, I don't generation watching the people. It's like, oh, you gotta literally the people I was working under. They were like, yo, you need to fucking you need to get your toothbrush, fill your backpack up with nothing but CDs, and go in a van and don't come home until you've sold all 10,000 of the CDs that you have. And like that's the school of that I came from. You know what I mean? But those people grew up without the internet. You know, there wasn't Instagram and all these things going, TikTok and all this stuff going on there. So it's like we're literally in a whole new era where I know people that have never toured a day in their life, but have massive fan bases because they just
Yep.
be rapping on TikTok all day, and you know they were able to tap into their market that way, and then they use those numbers to take it to the road, and then they discover like, oh, maybe some of these people are only online, or maybe only half of these people actually come out to the shows or whatever it may be. But it's a whole different game these days, you know.
Yeah.
So much more different now. I come from an area like you guys are both from areas where your market is much larger. Like my city, like honestly, is so scattered and small that like if I was just to stay in Spokane, I would have done nothing. And people like Khris who've helped me branch out across the country, and now I'm working with people, Midwest. I mean, I haven't touched down in New York yet. Hopefully someday, but all of that comes from branching out through the internet, and I would have never been able to do that if it wasn't for the connections that we have now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I literally booked my first European tour off of Facebook.
Yeah.
There you go.
Straight up, like
There you go.
I didn't have to send one email. Everything was just off people on Facebook, and I was just like still like mind blown over that.
Oh yeah.
It's true though, man. It's just a different era. I want to ask you about that though. So you said that was your first European tour. You booked it entirely through Facebook. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this: as it relates to you booking the tours, was that something where people were reaching out to you, or you were like, "Screw it, I'm gonna just grab the bull by the horns, and I'm just gonna set up this tour"?
My bad. The audio had kind of cut out a little bit. I
No
didn't hear.
worries. No, I wanted to get more of like an idea of like how you set up that initial tour, or was that like the demand just started and someone else kind of facilitated that, or were you just like, screw it, I'm gonna just grab the bull by the horns and I'm just gonna set up this tour and get out to Europe?
So the very first tour, I was performing as part of a group called First
Okay.
Dirt, which was a group I was a part of, and there was no demand. Honestly, we were just like we had did it like around the country before. We were like, yo, ain't nobody booking us. We're gonna book our own shows, book our own artists, and all that, and just make it happen. And we had that same mentality going to Europe. And how I did it off of Facebook was first I reached out to the connects that I saw that were booking people that I knew already that were going to Europe. Like I had friends that were already touring Europe regularly. So I would see, their dates or their venues or whatever, and then they would be tagging the promoters or whatever, and I just like holler at the promoters. That was step one. Step two was going to like these various Facebook groups. You know how they have like fucking Miami hip hop group or fucking New York
Right.
hip hop group. They have, Amsterdam hip hop group, France hip hop group, and just starting looking through there and being like, oh, this guy throws shows, or this guy's an artist out there, this guy's a DJ. Let me holler at these dudes and see if we can get in the studio, or if we can get an interview, or if we can line up a show. And then step three would be like actually like cold calling, like going through the same list of made like every tour flyer I would see of artists in Europe that made my similar kind of music, I would fucking save it, and then I would just like go to look up the venue's Facebook, get their contact info, and contact them directly, and just send them the pitch of the tour or whatever, send them the numbers, send them my videos, and just whatever. And then doing all three of those things like relentlessly for a couple of months, I was able to string along like a good 2 weeks out there, and we had shows, we had interviews, we had studio sessions, and that initial tour introduced me to Europe. And then because of that tour, like my solo brand started building out there, and then 6 months later there's a demand, and I'm getting booked for festivals out there, and people are hitting me to come back to their city or their country or their venue or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, those stepping stones led to the next tour, and then all the people I met on that tour led to the next tour, and so on. It's
That's amazing. Oh, I think we lost him for a second.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you are. All right, cool. So you started, I know you, so you had that experience already of booking your own shows here in the States. You set that up. So at what point did you decide that you wanted to, go bigger with it, and set up the Happiness Pursuit Fest?
Shit, like after years of touring and performing at festivals and throwing our own shows, there was a conversation that we would always have, this like, yo, we should do a big show one day, and we should do a festival or an outdoor, like a park event, something like that, and like build our own thing. And then around 2016, like First Dirt broke up, and I started doing my solo thing, and then I started touring like crazy. And like I had always been touring like crazy since 2010. And then I kind of got tired of it. Like I was like, man, let me find something different. I was just kind of getting bored of doing the same thing. And I had a daughter in 2015. So 2017 came around, my daughter's starting to walk and talk already, and I was getting bored of touring. So I was like, yo, let me do something that's gonna keep me home more, but continue to grow my brand in the hip hop scene. And I've always wanted to do something for my city and build something within the community, like a platform for other up and coming artists. And then the festival made sense. And at the time, I had already been working with a local venue that was family owned, and I was throwing small shows in there. And then my brother-in-law, who owns the venue, gave me the idea. He was like, yo, what if we do something in the parking lot? And that's when I was like, I've always wanted to do a festival. Here's my space to do it. And then that's where the idea was born.
That's what's up.
Question, actually.
Go ahead. No, go for it.
So that all happened within a few years. I noticed that because obviously I had to check your music out. I wasn't gonna go cold turkey into this.
Yeah. So
I was seeing that you started to get some big names on those tracks, like Blue and Sky Zoo and stuff like that. Like I was curious, was it the tours you did before and like setting up this festival that came first that got you connected with these people, or was it more was something that was already happening that while this was going
on? So before, I had been touring, making music and doing all that 7 years prior to the festival. So like I had already had, a fan base. I had relationships in the industry. All that music was pretty much out. Yeah, that just came from, I live in LA, you know what I mean? So we crossed paths with a lot of these people. And then Blue specifically, we had booked Blue. I'm trying to remember how our relationship started. I honestly met Blue for the first time at Be Real TV because I was doing an interview. And then as I was walking out, he was walking in, and then we were like, yo, let's work or whatever. And then that eventually led to him being on my first album. And then, we had booked him for a couple of shows or whatever, and just kept running into each other. So I asked him to be on my first album, and he said, yeah. And the special thing about that was Blue has over like 500 features with artists, you know what I mean? But one thing Blue does not have is a lot of music videos, and he doesn't do music videos for any of those features. So when I asked him, I was like, yo, Blue, like, would you be down to do a music video? Initially, he told me no. He was like, bro, I don't do music videos. Like, you can check my catalog. Like, I don't even have music videos for my own shit. It's not something I do. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, I wrote it off. But then, like, I asked again, like, maybe a month later or something. And then I was like, look, man, like, we got the homie Sly Boogie on the song. We'd really like you. We really like to do a music video because this is going to be the single to my album. And he ended up saying, yeah, he was like, you know what, bro, I fuck with you. I like the song. I'm a fan of Sly Boogie as well. And he's like, I ain't gonna charge you or nothing. Like, I'm just gonna pull up. And like, even the show, the day we shot the music video, dude, I ended up being like 2 hours late because I was in traffic. And Blue is there waiting, like chilling. And then he's like, yo, where you at? Where you at? And I'm like, dog, I'm in traffic. I was like, dude, leave. I told him, I was like, leave. Like, I cannot ask you to wait. And he's like, I'm here, bro. Like, let's get it. Like, I already committed to it. He ended up waiting for 2 hours, bro, for us to get there and shoot everything. It's like, yeah. So I mean, Blue's really like somebody who's helped me out in the game just based off mutual respect. Sky Zoo, Sky Zoo. What happened with Sky Zoo? I was honestly just.
We should make an episode just asking you how you came into contact with all these people, because of the list of people you worked with. I could ask you that every single one.
I was like, yeah, we could be here all day. But honestly, long story short, it was just like just relationships that I was able to build over the years. At least for everything pre 2017, because after 2017, I did start meeting people through the festival, and that led to us having a relationship in the music.
Hell yeah.
So with the festival, is it well, actually, before I even ask that, this is not a question I was expecting to ask, but I'm just going to ask it because it's a thought I have all the time and I feel adamant about it. Below the Heavens, top 10 hip hop album all time, yes or no?
Yes.
I agree. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd say because I just believe yes, flatly.
Number one, specifically for me, I don't know if it's in my personal top 10, but I mean, I ain't mad at anybody that says it's in their top 10, and I've heard a lot of people say it is. And me personally, I didn't. I was there for that album when it came out. I was like, I think I was in high school, but that's not what I was listening to at the time. Like, I didn't catch Below the Heavens until like 2012.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, like I had missed. I wasn't up on Blue like that, and then it took my partner from First Dirt. He actually had a song with Blue, and he put me on to his music. And then I was like, yo, this dude is crazy. And he's like, you don't know who this guy is? And he's like, yo, go check out Below the Heavens. And then from there, I was just like, boom, okay, like I get it now, you know.
Yeah. I had I had a coworker around that time. It was probably like when did that album drop? It was like 2008, 2009, something like that.
Oh yeah, 2007, I think.
Something like that. Okay. And I had a coworker around, actually, yeah, it was like 2007. And you know, he knew that I was listening to like Little Brother, and I was listening to like, you know, all these like underground, you know, artists, you know, he knew I was like heavy into like Atmosphere and stuff like that. And he was like, I know you don't know who this guy is, but I really recommend you listen to this dude Blue. This album is incredible. I'm like, all right, send it over to me. I'm like, yo, this is fire. Like, this is amazing. But yeah, for me personally, top 10. But
at that time, I was like, I'm listening to The Game, you know, in the streets, hustling type shit.
Yeah.
Like, if I had heard Below the Heavens, I'd be like, turn this shit off. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah,
it changed your top 10 song.
What was that?
Well, I noticed you had a top 10 song, and you were going over all your favorites. Do you think if you would have heard that earlier, it would have affected that song?
Yeah, for sure. I think Blue. I there was a lot of people that I didn't get to mention in that song, in that list. But yeah, I think it would have, because Blue's pen is something different, and he's definitely been a big inspiration to me over the past 10 years. He's
cut from a different breed.
For real. You know, you're right though about like the time and place that you hear a certain artist might, you know, kind of impact like whether you actually like take in the music at that time as opposed to like later on, because I'm a little bit older than you. So like when I was in high school, it was like early 2000. I graduated 2003. So like around that time, like only shit I was listening to all that Rockefeller shit. all that's like all I was listening to. And I was listening to like all the Rockefeller shit. I was listening to Dipset, just like right before like Kanye like blew up, right before like 50 blew up. So like that's the only shit I was on. I wasn't digging for like underground music like that. And obviously the internet hadn't really popped like that, for music. But yeah, especially by that time, by like the 2007, 2008, 2009, that was just like the only shit I was listening to was underground,
Yeah,
But
you're my older brother's age. My older brother graduated 2003, and that was actually my freshman year. And
okay.
yeah, so I was there right when, like you said, you were there before 50. I was there right as 50 was popping. So like the
Yeah.
soundtrack to my freshman year was Get Rich or Die Trying, and then from there,
Yeah.
it was the documentary, and then I was all
Yeah.
Aftermath. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing I was listening to. But yeah, we're definitely on the same wavelength.
True. So when it comes to the back to the Thought Fest, is this kind of like you kind of mentioned a couple of people involved, like with I think you said your brother, with the parking lot and everything. Is this kind of like your brainchild, or is this a team effort?
Oh, this is my baby, bro.
So you're very hands-on with this.
Yeah, it was funny because I was at iHeartRadio yesterday, and like one of the guys there, like they throw huge festivals, you know what I mean? And he's like, "Yo, who runs your advertising department?" I was like, "Me." He's like, "Who runs social media?" I was like, "Me." He's like, "Who runs booking?" I was like, "Me." He's like, "Who runs marketing?" I was like, "Me." He's like, "Who runs merchandising?" I'm like, "Me." He's like, "Bro, how do you?" He's like, "I have a whole 20 people staff that does everything that you do." And then me and my cameraman, the dude that runs all my media, we just looked at each other and we're like, "Bro, this is what we do. Like this, we've been doing everything since we're independent artists. We got to wear many hats. I've done it all, from tour managing to booking agent to press to PR. I mean, I've done it all. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm just used to doing the work. So I'm basically the one that does everything. I shout out to Wacko, my homie Wacko, who does all the graphics, all the media, flyers, anything digital, the twitching, like all that stuff is him.
Your
all
videos
the businesses,
sick. Like they're solid.
Thank you. That's him. I brought him in from us doing music videos for the past 10 years, and then it was like, all right, now you're shooting the festival. And my baby mama also does a lot for the festival because she represents the venue and she takes care of all the legal stuff, all the flights, hotels, like all the tech, like that stuff she takes care of. But everything else is on me. But yeah, at the very beginning, it was just me in a room, and I was like, okay, I need a name, I need a concept, I need a logo, and like I put it all together, and yeah, brought it to the world, man.
But suffice to say, if you had 4 arms like Goro, you'd be like doing your own photography and your own videography, like while you're performing and shit. It sounds like you're very hands-on, man. Like, because I know how it is, especially if I don't judge you for doing any of that. Because when it comes to all the stuff that we do, not me and Bueno, he does a lot of his own shit. But
I'm like this big.
Like the shows I said, I'm a control freak. So I like taking on the responsibility of wearing many hats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the exact same way, dude. Like they say, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself, man. So then I kind of live by the motto, because I try to pass certain jobs on to other people, and it's like, dude, get out the way. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the things I pass off are stuff that like I know for sure. Like I know for sure someone close to me is flatly better than me at it. Like when I need graphics, I got another artist that I know, and I got Bueno. And it's them two. I leave the graphics to them because I've tried it. It's not my forte, The video stuff, not my thing. There's certain skills I'm just like, you know what? That's just not me,
I was a tech ed in school, so that like
there you go.
The hip hop came later. I was just the nerd.
Yeah, I mean, I learned real quick though. I learned year one. I thought I could do everything, but the day of the show, you can't do everything, because I was like, oh yeah, I could check in artists, I could manage the stage, I could nah, bro. Like I learned real quick that was not happening. So we do have a strong team that helps the day of the majority of. So like, shout out to Olivia, Brick to Your Face, Noah, Lisa, Platform Collection, Khris, Eddie, everybody that helps out with the festival.
What else do you want people to know about the festival? I mean, aside from like the fact that every year you've got like a really like a fantastic lineup, honestly, it's really, really, you know, from what I see, it's curated like really, really excellently. It's almost like if if I was setting it up, this is like the exact artist I would love to have on. You know, I'm seeing this like, damn, this is the lineup I want. Shit, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we're the people that put together this festival are all from the culture. Like we've all been artists and managers and stuff like that, and we're our first love is hip hop. You know what I mean? So we're trying to deliver a hip hop experience like no other that you can't find anywhere else right now. Especially as you mentioned, the artists that we book aren't artists you're gonna see on Rolling Loud or the big hip hop festivals that are happening right now. I don't want to say purist. Nah, I hate that word honestly, but like we're trying to build a platform for artists that don't have a platform that should have a platform. You know what I mean? Like I mean even like the people that before they get to the masses, like the Benny and the Conways, grabbing them while they're still independent and
Saw that.
giving a stage to independent artists because like I really preach independence. I've always been like fuck the industry, fuck the labels, all that, do it yourself. And then being able to see that it's like okay, we need to give these people a platform. And that's basically it. That's what I would say. And it's like there's not a lot of, I would say we're one of the few handful of people that are still booking this kind of hip hop, this that we specifically cater to independent hip hop. I honestly can't name you another festival that does that. We had sound, we had Soundset. They kind of stopped doing their thing. Hyro Day, you know, does a good job of that, but I feel like they still mix, you know, mainstream artists or whatever, non-independent artists or whatever. But other than that, like I couldn't name you one, dude. And as an artist, I'm constantly looking for these festivals so I can perform at them. And yeah, so we're just here trying to build something that's not really being represented right now. And you know, we want to invite everybody that supports that kind of music and that kind of movement to the show.
That's what hip hop needs right now.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, that's the kind of festivals we're trying to set up out here. I mean, we're gonna have to have a separate conversation off the off this call to talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
Because yeah, we're 5 years deep on our Ozone Fest that's in Orlando, and then we started the SoFlo Fest this year, earlier this year, and yeah, we're trying to. I mean, I wouldn't say that they're quite at the scale that you guys are doing it, but they're kind of done in that same vein. You know, like the first year we had rapper Big Pooh headlining. You know, then we had Mickey Fax headlining the next year, and Recognize. You know, so you know we're kind of trying to just really, really promote, you know, uh, I don't want to say quality hip hop, but hip hop that has lyricism really at the forefront of, you know, and the MC.
Yeah, we definitely need something like that up here because we definitely have the fans, but we don't have the motivated people like you guys to like. I'd probably say that I have to a lot of work to do to set something like that up.
Man, it would be dope if like Macklemore were to build like a dope ass festival like that up there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's the perfect
Yeah.
person to branch Seattle and Spokane because he's from both cities.
Oh yeah, I see. I didn't know that. I just but yeah, I think his journey specifically just being independent for so long and then getting to the highest level as an independent and being able to instead of sign to the labels, just hire the labels to do some of the work. Like that's a
Yeah.
success story to me like no other. And yeah, I've always been a fan of Macklemore early on. And yeah, I think he would be the perfect person to do it.
Absolutely. But we're gonna have to. Hopefully, he sees this. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So one other thing I wanted to ask you about, how does like the Arts Foundation factor in with the fest?
So we had started the Arts Foundation because we wanted back to building something locally and wanting to,
Sure.
you know, help local artists and at risk youth that are trying to get into the music industry or the arts or anything that has to do with that kind of stuff. We really eventually the goal is to build like a facility where we can actually mentor kids and artists and you know have workshops and have a studio there, so they don't got to pay for studio time, and provide introducing them, having relationships and networks where we can introduce them to podcast hosts like yourselves and stuff like that, so they can, start doing interviews and maybe have a podcast station, so the people that are interested in getting into the podcast world can do it there. And we really just want to try to build something locally to help the local music community. And when we started the festival, it was kind of like, oh, okay, this could be an aspect of the foundation, and we could have some of the kids from our foundation perform at the festival, or sure, be staff, so they can familiarize themselves with event production and throwing shows and everything that goes into this kind of stuff.
That's amazing, actually. Yeah, that's a good way to plug them in. What do you say, Bueno?
Oh, I said keeping the youth busy, which is a super
yeah,
right now.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I have a pretty strong belief, and I think you guys agree with me that I think a lot of decisions, a lot of people kind of like veer off path a little bit. A lot of that happens around like 14 to 18, 19 years old, and it's because there isn't really a lot of guidance, and they're, and even if they have an interest in something musical or not even music, anything, maybe they just don't realize where their outlets are, in order to like really like build on that interest or build on that passion, So I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to provide that,
Yeah, thank you, man. Back to like, I was, like growing up, like I got in a lot of trouble just again, not having something to do pretty much, and just running the streets and then getting into all of that stuff. It's just like, I see the younger people now, and I'm just like, yo, I like to guide people, you know what I mean, and give them advice, or pass them a.
True.
If I could be that for the city, and it's kind of like a role that I've kind of started growing into with the festival, that people are looking up to me or asking me for advice and stuff like that. So it's kind of just like, it kind of just makes sense,
Yeah, agreed.
Super inspiring.
Definitely. Bueno, you got anything else before we go?
We covered quite a bit.
Yeah, we did.
I guess nah. I had one question that I was gonna ask just because I'm a super fan, but I'm kind of curious how you got into contact with Joel Ortiz, because he's a Brooklyn rapper, and that's like, you guys are way far apart.
That happened because we actually had the same booking agent at the time, and he was on tour with Illmind promoting their Human album. Okay. And they were gonna do they had a string of dates in the West Coast, and then me and my crew were pretty live at the time, and we had a good following, and we were like, we were known for bringing a good crowd to the shows. So the booking agent like pitched us as supporting acts to the tour and to Joel and everybody, and we got approved. So we ended up doing the West Coast tour with them via the booking agent, and that was basically it. I didn't have a relationship with him prior to that. The booking agent hooked us up, and then on the tour, we met, and we were like, we got the same agent. We're both Latino. We had a good time. You know what I mean? We was like kicking in and stuff like that. But to be honest, like that's a contact or a relationship that I didn't really maintain. So we haven't really spoken or kept up since then. But it was definitely an experience.
That's awesome. I was just curious.
I'm going to leave you on this. I want to ask you one question, because you've done a lot, of course, and you've worked with a lot of people, and, you've put out music, you've set up the festival, you've worked with a lot of people and been on tour, everywhere. What's one achievement that to you, career-wise, that stands out kind of above the rest?
I say this all the time, man. I got it tattooed right here, bro. The Pay Dues Festival, Merge Throw. Back to coming up in that era, you know what I mean? Like, if you got selected to perform at the Pay Dues Festival nationally, the perception was like, oh, these guys are next, or these guys are on. And even to get on the festival, like just getting Merge and Guerrilla Union's attention, who were throwing the two biggest festivals at the time with Rock the Bells and Pay Dues, out here at least, and just getting recruited onto that show let us know that, like, yo, we're doing our thing, and like we had to earn our spot. It wasn't just given to us. Like, we campaigned to get on that show, and after a year of fucking follow. Mentioned he was just like, you know what, you guys deserve the spot, and gave it to us. And yeah, to this day, I say that was the best day of my life, and definitely my biggest accomplishment in the music industry.
I can attest because to what you said a second ago, because I'm out here in Miami, and Miami does not support boom bap music as well as a lot of other markets. And when I would see those pay dues flyers, I'd be like, if there was a name I didn't recognize, I'd be like, this must be like the guy who's next up.
Yeah.
I would literally see it that way, you know, and then I would actually start looking into them and all that, you know. So I could definitely attest to that.
Man, to be honest, I mean, I was exactly the same way. And to be honest, like, there's people that started at that spot that are world stars now. From I remember Big Sean was at that bottom row at one point. K-Flay was at that bottom row at one point. Like, so many artists have that story, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy to dig back and you look at some of the flyers and you look at the names that are in the smaller print, and you're just like, this guy's big now, you know.
Even the Macklemores and the Kendricks, like, they started, you know, towards the bottom.
Exactly.
Exactly. The double XL freshman classes that brought them to the masses.
Yep.
True.
That also. Yeah, I know I think Macklemore had been on Pay Dues or Rock the Bells prior to the double XL thing. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them, dude. It's just like that whole era too, that whole mixtape era, man. It was just like the blog era, you know. It was just like a crazy time, also.
So before we let you go, is there anything else that you want to mention about THOP Fest? Is there anything else you want to plug, really?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, you know, check out our lineup. You know, we got Reason representing TDE, The Far Side, legendary hip hop group celebrating the 30-year anniversary of their Bizarre Ride album. Sugar Free, hip hop's favorite pimp, Sci-Hi the Prince, Ninth Wonder, Locksmith, Open Mike Eagle, hosted by Murs, Lush One. I mean, it's just, you know, if you're in this hip hop shit like that, man, this is something for you.
Absolutely.
Come check us out. Come rock with us. If you hear this interview, man, like, hit me up for free tickets, especially if you're coming from out of state. Like, I'll give you free tickets. Like, if you just send me your plane ticket or whatever. Like, I always tell people that too. Like, if you're making the trip, just hit me up for free tickets.
That's it.
I need to book my ticket today.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, bro.
But yeah, man, 60. It's been a real honor. We appreciate your time, and
much love.
Yeah, definitely got to make it out there for sure.
Yeah, hope to see you guys here, man. We'd love to have you.
Definitely, man. Go ahead. What were you say, Bueno?
Oh, I just said likewise. We would absolutely love to have him up here.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, we got to bring you out to Florida as well. So I mean, like I said, we're gonna have some separate conversations off the call. So
yeah, I wish we would have had this maybe like 2 weeks ago, because I was in Miami 2 weeks ago.
Oh no kidding. Oh shit.
It was my first time out there, and it's funny too, because I was actually like trying to find people that from the music that I could link up with out there, but I just couldn't connect with nobody.
So, shit, man.
Just missed.
That time's out. Yeah, just missed you, man. Where were you staying? Where about what area were you?
My I don't.
Hold on, I lost you for a second there.
Oh, Miami Beach, South Beach area.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. So you were in like the hot spot.
Yeah, I was on vacation, man. So, and it was my first time out there, so I was like trying to get it in.
Well, you have a good time?
Yeah, it was cool. It was hot as shit. That humidity was like, I wasn't used to it. I'm from Cali, man. I was like, yo, it's not that out there. And
you get warm out there, you get sunny out there, but it's like that humidity it's killer out here, man.
I was outside like trying to smoke or something. I would just be sweating. I was like, this is not it, man. But yeah, definitely. I had a good time. It was cool. A lot of good food.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of food out here. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man. No, we'll have to get you on the next time you're out in the area too. So, all right, man. We'll appreciate your time, and we'll have to chop it up soon. And if I don't talk to you between now and the fest, definitely I want to say good luck, but I mean, I'm sure it's going to go great, but I hope it goes great, you know, but we'll have to chop it up soon.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for that too, man. And yeah, hit me, man. Let's build on something in Spokane
Definitely.
or Miami. Definitely would like to come out and check out, Ozone Fest and everything too. I have seen that
Definitely.
also.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, no, definitely want to get you out there. So yeah, we're gonna have to keep building, like you said. So, all right, man. We'll talk soon, all right?
All right, man. Thank you guys.
All right, peace.